we totally get it. We publish a ton of content on this podcast, and it can be a lot to keep up with. That's why we've started the B2B Growth Big Three, a no-fluff email that boils down our 3 biggest takeaways from an entire week of episodes. Sign up today at sweetfishmedia.com/big3. That's sweetfishmedia.com/big3.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. I'm your host for today's episode, Logan Lyles with Sweetfish Media. I'm joined today by Steve Friedman. He is the co-founder and chief strategist at CPG Agency. Steve, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Steve. Your team is obviously doing some great stuff. Noticed you guys on the Chief Marketer Top 200 this year. For folks who aren't familiar with you, I would love for you to share a little bit of background on yourself and what you and the team at CPG Agency are up to these days.
Sure, Logan. So as the chief strategist of our agency, I work with our clients to make sure that the communication strategy of their efforts is going to be successful and really targeted towards their goals and to kind of get them business results that they want. And that's one of the things that we focus on with our clients. We're really about helping them achieve the results they want. So what are the business issues that they're trying to solve? And then how can we help them solve them as it relates to communications efforts? So our agency works with a lot of clients, and we have a special focus. We focus really on their internal audiences, their employees, their franchisees, if they're a franchise network, dealer networks, sales forces, things like that. And we really help make sure that those internal audiences and those key stakeholders are aligned with their vision and their efforts as a company.
Yeah, I love that. And that exactly gives some great context to the topic that we're going to be covering today. And basically this correlation between employee engagement and company success, as well as building a great brand for your company. So I think before we get into some specific examples that you shared with me as we were chatting offline, Steve, both that you guys have done internally at your agency and some great examples from clients that you work with, let's talk briefly about, why does employee engagement matter right now? How do we define it? And really, why is it important?
Well, so when we think about engagement, really the employee engagement, the way we define it, means the relationship between a company and its employees. So when you think about it, it's really a measure of how, not just how employees feel about the company, but their willingness to give a discretionary effort. So there's been a lot of studies, and I'm sure most of your listeners will have seen sort of the stats about the cost of disengaged employees and how expensive it is and how it gets in the way of productivity. So it's pretty common knowledge, the importance of engagement to a company's success. And really what employees engage with is company culture. And the culture is the beliefs that employees have about the company. So that, that has to do with whether or not they're aligned with the company's vision, its values, and the attitudes that guide its practices. And so today, again, if you think of authors like Simon Sinek, Start With Why, one of his great quotes is that customers will never love a company until employees love it first. And so again, that kind of speaks to the power of employees as brand ambassadors that can represent a company and help build a company and move it forward. And you see a lot of examples of companies known for having good culture being successful companies in business, and also on Wall Street, companies like Starbucks, for example. That's a company that's really well known for its positive culture, and that business is a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are some of the areas, Steve, that you guys point folks to initially to start to drive employee engagement?
Well, we think that the key to building engagement is really meeting human needs. And how that shows up, and then in order to engage employees, they have to believe in the company. And there's a lot of neuroscience around actually the power of belief. Basically, as humans, we have to believe in something in order to be, or we're more successful when we believe in something. Another way to put it is people who believe in something are just more successful than those who don't. It's almost more important that you believe in something as to what you believe in. So again, for employees, it's about believing in the company, its vision, and where it's heading. So to build engagement, you have to have employees feel like you trust me, you listen to me, you care about me, you appreciate me, and perhaps most importantly, we share a meaningful purpose. If a company can get the employee to believe that and show those things, that's what really builds engagement. And so by having those engaged employees, they become, as I said before, brand ambassadors, and that in turn helps them become much more productive, but also helps the brand, helps you build that brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the impact can definitely be exponential. So let's talk a little bit about the how now that we've talked about, really the why and the what. I love what you shared with me before, Steve, about building an employee council. I think you guys call it your values team, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that we did at our agency, again, we use the phrase building belief through experience. So people create belief either by taking something on faith or believing what they're told, or even more powerful way is by having an experience. When somebody experiences something, they can create a belief out of that, and then in the future they take actions out of the belief that they have. So we wanted our employees at CPG Agency to feel like they were important to us. We cared about them. We wanted to listen to them. So we created basically a team of employees from all different areas of the company that we called our values team, because we wanted them to make sure that we were living into our stated values. So they meet as a group, and employees volunteer to be on the values team. They do it for a year, and they help figure out the ways in which CPG can better live into its values through the physical environment, through activities we're going to do together, and just how we live out our lives, so to speak, as employees from day to day. So it really starts from within. The group determines how can we make sure that we are best living into our values, and that in turn shows employees that the company cares about them and wants us to be a place that they can feel good about working at.
So what I hear you saying there is it's not only about top-down communication, but you're creating opportunities for both top-down and bottom-up communication at the same time, right?
Yes, that's a great point, Logan, because a lot of the times, we as the leaders of the organization, we're meeting to figure out what we think the company needs to get done. But we don't just want to tell them, how everything needs to be. We definitely want to hear from them and have them tell us in turn what's important to them. But also, we have a lot of the team that are, out there, for example, in the field with our customers every day. So they have that really good pulse on what needs to happen, so we can learn from them as well. So it's important to have that two-way communication, open communication, as a matter of fact. Again, that's another part of what builds engagement.
Hey guys, chances are you're running SEO, PPC, social, email, and other digital channels. So why aren't we spending the same time and attention on our highest converting channel, referrals? We all say we value word of mouth because we know it brings our best leads that end up being our best customers. But most of us aren't using referrals as an active marketing channel. Enter the definitive guide to referral marketing from our friends over at Ambassador. To get your free copy, head over to getambassador.com/growth. You'll learn best practices, tips, and strategies to generate positive and organic word of mouth by building your own scalable referral program. Learn from the world's leading referral company, Ambassador, trusted by leading marketers at HubSpot, Zillow, and Gong.io to build and scale their word of mouth programs. Again, go get your free copy of the definitive guide to referral marketing at getambassador.com/growth. And if you want to talk to their experts there, just drop them a note. All right, let's get back into the show. Absolutely. I completely agree with that, top down and bottom up at the same time. This is a little bit off topic when it comes to execution and goals, but a book that our team is currently reading is The Four Disciplines of Execution. And one of the things they touch on in that book is when you're setting your WIGs, what they call your wildly important goals, WIGs, the acronym for it there, that it needs to come from this collaborative effort of top down and bottom up at the same time. And I think anything that you're trying to focus on, whether it's a key result that you're trying to achieve as an organization or the culture that you're trying to build, that mixture of top down and bottom up flows through all of those examples. So I love what you're saying there. As you mentioned, Steve, this is something that you guys are not only living out internally, but you help clients with. You have some clients that you've worked with have successfully built their brand by doing some very strategic things when it comes to employee engagement, and maybe share some specifics that listeners could take and possibly use or emulate in some way.
Sure. And there's a lot of examples of our clients talking about and recognizing the importance of their team to their success. Really, when you think about it, that is that's sort of the competitive advantage of a lot of our clients feel that they have with someone else, because is their team, and to the extent that their team makes a difference for them. We also encourage that they look at sort of the life cycle of employees, from when they're recruited to onboarded, to their training and development, to how they're engaged and inspired, and through the recognition that they get. And what's nice about that is there are opportunities to engage them all along that life cycle of an employee. So it's not something that you can't just engage an employee once or even, a few times. It's something that you want to think about how you can do that throughout the year, throughout the life cycle of that employee, whether they're new or whether they've been with you for decades. So one example is really in the development area of employees, like training and development. So one of our clients is Caleres, which is a footwear company, shoe company. And it's interesting, you may not be familiar with the company, but you've certainly heard of their brands: Famous Footwear, Dr. Scholl's, Via Spiga, Sam Edelman. Those are just a few of their brands, and they have 10 brands. And so they were a company that they actually rebranded themselves a few years ago. They were Brown Shoe for over 100 years, and they rebranded as Caleres. So their CEO, one of the things that she saw was that in order for them to compete in today's business, they really needed to become a much more high-performing workplace, and the team was going to be important for the team to do that. So she wanted to have basically they had an annual meeting, sort of an all-hands meeting, and she talked to us about trying to make that more engaging. And one of the ways in which we looked at that was, let's take that meeting and turn it into an opportunity for all employees to understand that they were going to be important to the team, to the company's success, that the company was interested in their ideas, and it was going to take their ideas in order for the company to be successful. So instead of having an annual meeting, we turned it into a series of innovation experiences, so that everyone in the company, they would hear from the CEO, but then they'd have a chance to be in an innovation experience where they came up with ideas for how to improve the company. And they have the actual experience of the company listening to them, asking them for ideas, taking their ideas. They would pick out the best ideas and put them into practice to help improve the company. And everybody's involvement in that helped engage them more, to make them feel like they had more ownership, if you will. Again, not just top down, but bottom up, that everybody would have some ownership in the company's future success.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that they didn't just say, hey, we care about you, we want to hear your ideas, but immediately in that meeting, in that experience, they created an opportunity for employees to be heard and connected the typical message, which can sound kind of trite if you've heard it before and not seen it actually played out, and they actually played it out. They gave an opportunity. So I love that example. Is there maybe one other that you'd like to share before we wrap up today, Steve?
Sure. Another one of our clients that we're proud to work with is Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is a great company, and they are known for culture. So we're kind of proud of the fact that we get to work with a company that is so culture focused, and we help them. We work with their culture services department and help them as they help them communicate their culture. And so what we did with them was they actually have a series of events that are open to all employees. And it's really important for them because, they get to hear from the CEO, they get to, reconnect with fellow team members and celebrate a little bit about, working for Southwest Airlines, because that's important to them too. And really what we did with Southwest, we just made sure that these events, these live experiences really reflected their culture and were brand experiences. And also to make sure that they were, fun celebrations that would, again, reflect Southwest culture. So basically, we took what they were doing, which was a very informative type of meeting, and we made them more sort of celebrations of culture and gave opportunities for people to, access top leaders, to be engaged. Made it much more of a celebration. So we took, for example, what had been like a small expo of internal departments and made it into much more of an after party where people could gather, have fun, enjoy each other, but still learn like the important information that they had to learn. And we made the meeting itself much more of a rally, if you will, to reflect Southwest, spirit and fun-loving attitude. So turned it into just much more of a fun rally that they would have, and as they toured, as these meetings would occur in major Southwest cities around the country. So it was interesting because one of their goals was to improve attendance at these, even though the attendance was optional. And so once we sort of redesigned the events and also help to promote them, they were able to give attendance go up 50% from one year to the next. And that really meant that the message was being heard directly by a lot more employees, which is, again, that's one of the ways in which it helps build the company's success, is by making sure that employees are engaged more with the brand and with the company.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that example as well. Well, Steve, this has been great. I love what you guys are doing both internally and for your clients. If anybody out there listening to this feels the same way and would like to reach out, connect with you, maybe ask any follow-up questions on this topic, what's the best way for them to reach out or find you?
We can certainly go to our website, cpgagency.com, and there's a way there, just a tab to click to get more information. But feel free to reach out to me directly. Probably email me easily at stevef@cpgagency.com, and that's STEVEF @cpgagency.com, and I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, Steve, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Logan.
Digital marketing agencies have a tough job. You have to stay on top of the latest marketing strategies for your clients and your agency. What if there was a way you could address both at the same time? Imagine your agency putting out content with greater quality and quantity. Envision bringing your clients a turnkey solution for one of B2B marketing's fastest growing media strategies, podcasting. You know all those clients asking for your help with their account-based marketing efforts? Picture being the first to bring them the idea of content-based networking, showing them the proven strategy for breaking into their most coveted accounts. Here's the concept. Sweetfish Media is looking to work with a limited number of innovative agencies interested in a new partnership model. We produce a podcast for your agency. You introduce the power of podcasting and Sweetfish services to your clients. Everybody wins. Learn more at sweetfishpartners.com.